Howdy folks, hope you're all having a good one, and welcome back to World of Warships with Rear Admiral Jingles. We have a Tier 10 ranked battle for you today, starring RogueCheddar. I do like that name, by the way. Taking a quick look over the two team lists, I'm not seeing anybody else with a particularly notable or amusing name on either team, aside from the RogueCheddar captain on the enemy team, who goes by the name of Captain Han Solo. Some interesting matchmaking in this particular ranked battle. No destroyers. It's just battleships and cruisers. RogueCheddar is captaining what I believe would have been called, if it had ever actually existed, the ARA San Martin, and it comes with a funny button. This is the consumable operational readiness, which you charge up by scoring hits on target with your guns, and then when it's charged you can activate it to vastly reduce the cooldown on all of your consumables, which doesn't seem amazingly useful. At least not at first glance. You know, it's not like a torpedo reload booster or a main gun battery reload booster. But given the nature of this ship, it's actually kind of powerful. Although I'll probably have to describe the history of the ship in order for you to understand why. Even though this ship is completely made up and doesn't actually have any history, I should probably explain. Post-World War II, the Argentine Navy were on the market for some new cruisers. In particular, they wanted cruisers with dual-purpose armament. So that meant the UK or the US Navy. Unfortunately, neither the UK nor the US Navy were really building cruisers with dual-class armament at the time. Argentina ended up buying a Brooklyn-class light cruiser, which became the General Belgrano. But if there had been, for example, the Worcester class, which was proposed but never built, this is the what-if scenario that we're seeing here. That's basically what the ARA San Martin is. It's an Argentine version of the US Navy's proposed Worcester class. And as we all know, the Worcester comes with a lot of consumables, as does the San Martin. So that consumable reload booster is actually kind of useful here, because of the dizzying array of consumables that this ship gets. It gets radar, it gets hydro, it gets repair party, it gets damage control. Basically, everything you could possibly want. The other thing that the Worcester got, you know, if it had ever existed, which by extension the San Martin here also gets, is guns. Lots and lots of guns. It is armed with 10 152mm dual-purpose guns. 2 double turrets and 2 triple turrets. So the gun configuration isn't exactly the same as the Worcester, but, you know, as long as we're making stuff up. I mean, what it doesn't get, however, is high explosive ammunition, which is a bit of a mixed blessing. It means you don't have to worry about the ammunition choice appropriate to individual circumstances, because you've only got one ammunition choice, armor piercing. Quick word about the enemies that he's facing, and hopefully it's not whoever just flipped that cap circle down there. In particular, I'm talking about the Incomparable, because that is a battleship armed with 20-inch guns. And guns of that caliber can overmatch up to 35mm of armour plating, which is not something that the San Martin has. So, oh shit, it's the Incomparable. Although he's not the one who flipped the cap, he's too far to the south. Meanwhile, a situation is developing over to the east of Cap Circle Charlie, as the friendly Napoli and the enemy Petropavlovsk go head-to-head. Now, we can't see exactly what's happening over there, so we can't know for sure whose decision it was to go for the ram, but whoever's choice it was, a ram just happened, and that's 2 extremely powerful cruisers knocked out of the battle already. Still no idea of who is with the Incomparable down there who flipped that cap circle, although by a fairly simple process of elimination we can deduct that it has to be the Colbert, since all of the other enemy cruisers are either spotted or, well, if you're the Petropavlovsk, sunk. And sure enough, it's the Colbert. He just got spotted. I mean, the Colbert isn't nothing. It has some serious firepower, and it's fast. But the yeah, that, however, that's a problem. And there's nobody over here with him except for the Preußen. Now, the Preußen's a decent ship, but that's an Incomparable, and it can overmatch 35mm of armour plating, so the Preußen can't bow tank that. And if the Preußen can't, RogueCheddar here in a light cruiser absolutely can't, so he's in no rush whatsoever to get spotted and shot at by that monster. Oh, and the team have just lost their RogueCheddar first. Fantastic. It's amazing, isn't it? I mean, the enemy team are actually outnumbered on the other side of the map, but they're still winning. Well, they were outnumbered. But then again, I mean, if you look at the various different range circles, RogueCheddar has a, what, 15.5 kilometre range on his guns, and he can almost shoot into Cap Circle Charlie from all the way over here. And if he can almost do it, the battleships on the team absolutely can. So it's not like, in a situation like this, on a map like this, it's not like you can really say that one team outnumbers the enemy, except in the most broad of senses, because the Preußen can absolutely get shots on target. Ooh, RogueCheddar's spotted. Alright, well... Oh, he's probably regretting that hasty decision. I mean, you can see why he opened fire, because he thought, well, I'm spotted anyway. But then he went undetected, right at the second he pulled the trigger. But hey, it's okay. He got away with it. 'Twas but a scratch. He's got some shots out at the Incomparable. He's probably wishing he had some high explosive ammunition at this point. Would be much more useful than 152mm armor piercing against a behemoth like that. Gets the torpedoes away just in case. Oh, there's a potential kill coming up here, although there's absolutely nothing from this kind of range that RogueCheddar can do about it. But it would be a real shame to let that Grosser Kurfürst get away and heal back up when he's on such low health. Yeah, they've got him. That's cool. Okay, so both teams have one cap circle, both teams have 2 kills. And with the Incomparable perched behind the island like that, there's no line of fire. Well, there is a line of fire because he's firing at him, but there's no line of sight. So he can quite safely, unless the Colbert gets involved and spots him shooting, he can quite safely sit here and pepper the Incomparable. Oh, is he about to poke out around the side of the island? RogueCheddar starts preemptively angling away just in case, and oh, the team have just lost another ship. And it's their big guns too, the Shikishima. The Smolensk, well, the Smolensk was credited for the kill. The Shikishima went down due to a fire that the Smolensk had set, but I'm pretty sure that the Shikishima was getting pounded by every available gun on the enemy team at the time. The Smolensk was just the one who got the kill. The Colbert got respotted, by the way. He's down to the south of Cap Circle Charlie now, which means that this Incomparable over here is probably fuming at his team, like, for God's sake, spot something for me. So this is great news, of course, for RogueCheddar, because it means he can just sit here and keep raining shots down on the enemy battleship without worry of being spotted by any pesky enemy cruisers. The Preußen's now closing in. They've got this guy to themselves, but again, due to the nature of the long-range guns present on both teams in this battle, with the exception of RogueCheddar himself here, while this looks like a 2-on-1 fight, that's not necessarily the case. I mean, the Incomparable over there is clearly shooting at somebody else on the other side of the map rather than RogueCheddar here, because he can't see him, or the friendly Preußen who's just roved around. They go, oh, they've just lost the Stalingrad. That's who the Incomparable was shooting at. Now he's backing off. I can't remember if the Preußen has torpedoes. Actually, I can't remember if the Incomparable has... Oh yes, the Incomparable has torpedoes. As long as the Preußen doesn't eat too many of those torpedoes. And he looks alright. He's probably the best ship remaining on the team to go head-to-head against a 20-inch gun-arm monster like the Incomparable. As long as he, you know, doesn't get cocky and try to expose too much broadside in order to get all of his guns firing. Because even though the Incomparable can overmatch his bows, the Preußen is a German battleship. And it's got... Oh, well, it looks like the Preußen got too cocky and tried to turn around to get all of his guns firing when he should have just either gone nose in or angled. Because even though the Incomparable's 20-inch guns can overmatch the Preußen's bow armour, it's got a thwartship's bulkhead protecting the citadel, which it can't overmatch. Still, he's managed to nail the Incomparable, but it cost him more than half of his health. Oh well. And here comes the Colbert. Enemy cruiser turning up, day late and $1 short. Too late to save the enemy battleship, and judging by the colour of his tracer, he's got one of the special French commanders. Can't tell which one at this point, but it doesn't really matter. You note that RogueCheddar is angling against the enemy Mecklenburg. Why, oh why, oh why would the Colbert suddenly decide to turn around and start giving broadside to these 10 152mm guns. Well, because he's got to choose between that and giving broadside to the Preußen, who's now swinging its guns around and is about to start shooting at him. And there are no real good choices to make here for the Colbert. He can either eat a bunch of citadels from RogueCheddar and die reasonably quickly, or he can eat a bunch of citadels from the Preußen and die in one shot. Either way, he's dead. But he took the Preußen with him, and he got the Preußen before RogueCheddar got him, which means that for a fraction of a second, RogueCheddar was the last one left alive on his entire team against half of the enemy team. But the Colbert is down, and the Smolensk is nowhere to be seen, which means he's now engaged in a fight to the death against the last remaining battleship on the enemy team, the Mecklenburg. Good news, however, if you're thinking he's given an uncomfortable amount of broadside there to a battleship while in a light cruiser, you're right, he is. But there's a method to his madness, because the Mecklenburg, while it sits in the battleship line, and it's definitely armoured like every other German battleship, and it also has fantastic secondaries, which are definitely giving RogueCheddar some significant problems right now. It isn't armed like every other German battleship. It's got a lot of guns, 16 of them, but they're only 305mm. Relatively low caliber though they may be, there are 16 of them, and they only have a 26-second reload. Backed up by the Mecklenburg's exceptional secondaries, they are really hammering away at RogueCheddar's health, and this is where the funny button is saving his arse, because it's recharging the consumables every time the gun hits the target. More specifically, it's recharging the heal. This Mecklenburg is going to have to effectively kill him 3 times, thanks to the pounding that the Mecklenburg's taken from these 6-inch armor-piercing shells, powering up that funny button, which is allowing him to get that damage control and repair party back up in record time. RogueCheddar actually takes more than 100,000 damage during the course of this battle, and it's almost all at the hands of this Mecklenburg. And he only has 49,000 health to begin with. And it's all thanks to his funny button powering up that repair party and keeping them in the fight long enough for these torpedoes to finally land on target and take the Mecklenburg out. And oh, look at that. Shots from the Smolensk coming over the volcano. It's an enemy cruiser turning up a day late and $1 short to do anything useful to help the friendly, well, in this case, enemy battleship. Where have we seen that before? That's a triple fire, though. Oh, this is getting a bit hot. Okay, now it's only a double fire. And, yeah, torpedoes from the Mecklenburg, but a big enough gap for him to comfortably avoid those. More shots. Extremely speculative fire there from the Smolensk on the far side of the volcano. RogueCheddar now has a very big problem. It's him against the Smolensk. He has no idea how much health the Smolensk has. He only has 2,500 health left with 2 minutes cooldown remaining on his heal. Remember, in order to charge up that funny button and get it working on giving him his heal back, he needs to keep hitting targets with his guns. But if he gets into a gunfight with a Smolensk while he's on 2,500 health, in order to get that consumable recharged, he'll be dead long before the consumable is even close to coming back up. So this is going to be a bit of a problem. Also, the Smolensk has a significant points lead in 2 of the cap circles, which means that points lead is getting bigger and bigger as each second drags by. There's still 7 minutes or so of the battle left, but the Smolensk will have reached 1,000 points with those 2 cap circles long before that happens. So RogueCheddar doesn't really have any choice. He has to go looking for him. And while we don't know how much health the Smolensk has, the Smolensk absolutely knows how much health RogueCheddar has remaining. 2,500, because the Smolensk was shooting at him. It's probably the Smolensk who actually set those 3 fires, although he possibly had some help from the Mecklenburg secondaries. So the Smolensk has the luxury of being able to pick and choose exactly what to do here. He can just sit back, wait to reach 1,000 points, or he can go hunting for RogueCheddar. RogueCheddar must be sweating bullets at this point, because if the Smolensk comes around the side of an island there, he's dead. He's still got 40 seconds to go before his heal comes off cooldown. Pop some torpedoes away around the side of the island, just in case. But if the Smolensk is coming for him and pops into view right now, RogueCheddar's dead before the torpedoes are going to get anywhere near him. He's not spotted. Sitting here on 2,500 health. Trying to second guess what the Smolenska's doing. And waiting for that heal to come off cooldown. 12 seconds. But the Smolensk is now up to nearly 940 points. If the Smolensk has decided to just run and take the points win, then, well, it doesn't matter what he does with a heal. The Smolensk has won. Rogue, your heal's off cool. Rogue, use your heal. It's off. Rogue, what are you doing? Rogue, press the... There it is. Woof. He left that one a bit late. Oh, let's hope that doesn't come to bite him in the arse. I mean, the heal is very good. But he could have been up to 20,000 health by now if he pressed the heal the second it came off cooldown. And then, there's the Smolensk. Oh, and he couldn't be giving Rogue a better target if he tried. Fire the frickin' lasers. Fire them again. And boom, headshot with 998 points on the scoreboard. 2 points away from winning, or losing from RogueCheddar's perspective. He absolutely obliterates the Smolensk, who I can only assume saw those torpedoes that Rogue launched around the other side of the island and thought, aha, I see you coming, I'm going to get you. And then got very surprised when Rogue popped up with seconds to spare around the other side of the island. 2 points away from winning, blew it. The Smolensk, of course, famously trolls battleships, firing 16-inch or higher armour piercing at it that just over-penetrates and goes right through without causing, well, hardly any damage. That doesn't happen with 6-inch armour piercing, though. Oh, no. So, congratulations, Rogue. You won that one by the skin of your teeth. Extremely well played. Hope everybody enjoyed it. And as always, take care, and I'll catch you next time.